All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the Akim who go out throughout the four corners of the earth to teach this truth and risk their lives to spread this word throughout the four corners of the earth. With this wicked celebration of one of the greatest mass annihilations of a people, mass genocides, celebration of the killing of the so-called Native Americans and Seminole Indians, which is actually the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben, according to the Holy Bible, right? With this wicked holiday coming up, you're going to have a lot of the tribe of Gad, or so-called Native Americans and Seminole Indians, so-called, who are going to be taking part in a celebration of their own massacre, right? They're going to join in, eat the same ceremonial foods as these Edomites, which is the so-called white man. Right, they're going to take part in his celebration in murdering our people. It's hilarious, but it's not funny at all. And we believe that the Native Americans, Latinos, so-called, and the so-called Reubenites, the so-called Seminole Indians, we believe that they are part of the 10 tribes of the nation of Israel, right? And to prove that, I want to get into 2 Esdras chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Osea the king, who Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land. But they took this counsel amongst themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, right? And that's this land here. That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land, right? Which they did keep very many of our the customs when they came here. I just as a testimony, I was going off in the world, did some wickedness. I went to what's called a Sundance, right? Because I used to, before I came in the truth, I used to believe I was a Native American. I'm actually from the tribe of Judah, according to my father's line. But I used to think I was a Native American, and so that was my belief system. And part of that belief system was a Sundance, which is a wicked pagan custom, right? So that was going off as far as keeping our own customs. But this testimony is a part of our custom. So we pull up in a van, and it was the American Indian movement is the ones that put on this Sundance. It was in Pipestone, Minnesota. And the American Indian movement is basically like the Black Panthers of the natives, so-called. Right, so we pull up in a van, and there was a lot of us. There was 2 vans. So we pulled up in the vans, and a woman, after they tell us where to park, a woman came walking up to us, an older woman, and she stopped us before we reached the Sundance grounds, and she says, somebody with you is on their moon. And what she meant by that was that there was a woman that was with us that was on their period. Well, she asked, is there any of you that are on your period? And 2 of the girls that were with us, 2 sisters, both raised their hands, right? And so they were to be outside of the grounds because it was supposed to be sacred ground, and they were on their moons. They were taken to a different camp that was off-site, and there with all it was called the moon camp. So any woman that was on their period was in that camp. which is a custom of the Israelites, right? When in the law, when a woman is on her moon, she's unclean, and she is supposed to, stay away from the rest of society because everything she touches is going to be unclean, right? So they ended up having to stay outside of the camp, right? That's one of the customs. That's very evident that these are the people of the Most High. Verse 41, 2 Esdras 13 and 41. But they took this counsel amongst themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river. For the Most High then shewed signs for them, and they held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Ashereth, and that's here in this land. Then dwelt they there until the later time, and now when they shall begin to come. Right, so that's just a little bit of history of how Gad got here. Now, there's a couple of other scriptures before I get into this. I also want to read a story about a massacre that happened on the West Coast, over here on the West Coast, in the state of California. Right, this is Genesis 49 and 19. Gad, right? This is speaking to Gad, and this was a prophecy of Jacob giving his sons where they would be in the latter days. Right, Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome in the last. At the last, right? Troop, Gad actually means troop, But, when you think of troop, you think of, the cavalry, right? The Most High was very specific when he put this word in there. All right, and then we're going to go over here to Deuteronomy 28 and 49. This is the curses being put upon us. So all you Israelites that don't believe, you idiots that don't believe that the so-called Native American is a part of Israel, you're foolish, number one. And number two, this one here is really going to break it down. So Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of the earth, swift as the eagle flieth, right? And who always represents himself as an